He stood less than 6 feet tall, suffered from asthma, and walked with a limp. But inside Nathanael Greene burned a fiery determination, a determination that helped the United States win its independence from Great Britain. Born into a Quaker family living on Rhode Island, Greene was a merchant and a businessman in the years leading up to the American Revolution. Prior to hostilities breaking out between the American colonies and Great Britain, Greene helped form a local militia unit known as the Kentish Guards. But because of his limp, a birth defect, he was denied an officer's commission. But then the Rhode Island General Assembly intervened and promoted Greene from the rank of private to brigadier general in the Army of Observation that went to Boston to support the Patriot troops shortly after the battles of Lexington and Concord. Greene eventually became a major general in the Continental Army and served during the Siege of Boston, as well as the New York campaign in the summer and fall of 1776. And it would be that autumn that Greene would suffer his worst military defeat. He insisted upon defending 2 forts, Forts Lee and Washington. However, both would eventually fall to the British, a disaster that Greene later wrote left him mad, vexed, sick, and sorry. He would go on to serve during the 10 crucial days at Trenton and Princeton. But he would find redemption for Forts Lee and Washington on September 11, 1777, at the Battle of Brandywine, where, after being outflanked by the British Army, Greene pulled his division out of line and fought a delaying action that allowed George Washington to pull his men off the field and live to fight another day. Later on, during the winter at Valley Forge, suffering from a lack of supplies, Washington would turn to Greene and appoint him to be the quartermaster general of the Continental Army. Greene's efforts helped to reestablish Washington's supply lines and helped put the Continental Army back into fighting trim in time for the spring campaign of 1778. Washington would call upon Greene's services once again in the fall of 1780. Following the British invasion of South Carolina, the fall of Charleston, and the disaster at Camden, Greene would be appointed to command the Southern Department. Greene's campaign got off to an electrifying start when his subordinate Daniel Morgan defeated a British force at the Battle of Cowpens in January of 1781. Greene then employed a tactic of exhaustion, completely outrunning the British Army commanded by Charles Cornwallis to the Dan River in Virginia and wearing down the British Army. At the Battle of Guilford Courthouse in March, Greene inflicted numerous casualties on Cornwallis's army, but was eventually forced to abandon the field. Cornwallis eventually withdrew his battered army toward the coast and later moved north into Virginia. But Greene did not pursue. He decided to engage in a campaign of reconquest. And through the spring and summer of 1781, Greene and his subordinates drove the British out of the interior of South Carolina, eventually forcing them to pull back to the city of Charleston. Greene's efforts helped to reestablish military as well as civilian control throughout the whole of South Carolina and parts of Georgia in the coming months. His efforts were a significant bargaining chip to the ongoing peace negotiations taking place in Europe. The American Revolution essentially left Nathanael Greene destitute. Many times he had to draw out of his personal funds to supply his men. But for his service, the state of Georgia gave Greene a gift of a plantation near Savannah, Mulberry Grove. And it would be in Mulberry Grove in June of 1786 that Greene would pass away from sunstroke. He rests today underneath a monument in Savannah, Georgia. Shortly after his death, his former subordinate, Anthony Wayne, who was at Greene's side when he passed, wrote, "I have watched a great and good man die."